Get underway here for the women's. It's the first time this has been held at Confraternity, and it's going to be played between St. Joseph's and St. Margaret's, St. Margaret Mary's, I should say. Players in place. Just waiting for the hooter to get things underway. So, sun's starting to peek its nose through, thankfully. Referee will get things underway. It's a very, very good morning to everyone. And Chris Ledbetter, the principal or headmaster of St. Lawrence's College, joins us on the cans. We've had two of the superstars now of Confraternity. First Peter Elmore, and now Chris. How are you, Chris?
Yeah, going well today, thank you. A bit cooler today, so might be good for the girls.
Well, you mixed it up, haven't we? I was saying to Peter, it's been Melbourne, whether you had windy conditions on day one, a warm day on day two, and then here on day four, it's certainly a little bit cooler, but I'm sure it's going to get a lot better.
That's actually been planned, so
you
designed it that way.
Come up with everything.
Yeah, very good.
So St. Margaret Mary's is on your left of the screen. So this is a different trophy final here, Chris, because of the expansion of the women's game. Outstanding.
Yeah, look, a few years ago the committee made the decision to introduce Girls Rugby League, and it's been fantastic. So this is a trophy final. So some of these girls may not have played as much rugby league as those who are in the top games later on today.
Yep.
But they've really enjoyed the experience, and the football's been great.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, as you said, the expansion. You can, and for the pathways for the women's game, you can make it. You know, obviously representative duties. You can make it a bit of a living out of it. But at the end of the day, it's actually getting out and playing in the team sport, which is obviously the number one idea.
Yeah, what we've noticed in the last few years is the improvement in the standard. It's actually, a lot of the girls will have a touch football background, and they've probably played a bit of that, but and getting used to contact's probably been the biggest challenge. But I tell you what, I watched a game yesterday, and I reckon they would have beaten some of the boys' teams, a few of those TCC girls and Marymount girls.
Well, it's allowed to bounce there at the back there, and Dage will pick it up and throw a pass. Not sure whether it's a good idea, but it's made a few more metres in the defence there. But I agree with that, Chris, because basically I can remember calling the first SEQ Division 1 Grand Final probably 8, maybe 9 years ago. Karen Murphy was playing back then.
Yep.
And it was quality enough, but now we see some of the finals in the BMD Premiership, and obviously Origin is the next level again, but it's just... And I suppose the same can be applied to the women's cricket as well. It just seems to be progressing. They're getting coached by professionals now, and they're just taking it to the next level. So we see St. Joseph's with the ball in hand here. It's going to come off the shoulder. The ref will say it's knocked back and play on. The fullback will go for a run there and Zerbel will be cut down. 28 metres out from the try line. Dummy half now is Ganley. Finds handling error, unfortunately. Hands on heads there. Wasn't a great pass. So just trying to get warmed up. So
I imagine St. Joseph's are coached by Paul Canning, or if not, they'd be managed by Paul. Paul's had a 40-year association with Queensland Independent Secondary School Rugby League, and he's been instrumental in the development of the game on the Darling Downs. He's an old trooper, Paul, and I know he's very, very proud that the girls have improved so much.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, you know, obviously if you, as a coach, you just want players to be better at the end of the season than when they start. It's a 25-minute halves in this particular game. The clock doesn't stop here, but a longer format, so that'll test the legs of these players. Obviously, this is probably their fifth game, I would imagine, Chris.
Yes, this would be their fifth game, and this will... They finish on the Thursday now, but when we go to Townsville next year, we're reviewing that because there may be an increase in the number of teams. It's just for the committee to decide, and I'm sure Peter Elmore's already got a process going, but Townsville should be great next year, being hosted by Ignatius Park, and I think the girls' netball's also up there, so they have 70-odd teams, and we'll have 64 teams as well.
It's still the last tackle, so that'll be a changer. Where are you going to find real estate in Townsville to have so many of these games? It's going to be, I know they had Murray Carnival up there a few years ago.
Look,
There's a few players.
Sean Clark's the principal, and he presented to the meeting yesterday. Sean and Alex, who's supporting him. They've got, I think Ryan College has got 2 fields, and Brothers from Townsville have 4, and they're within walking distance from each other. So that'll be the venue for next year, and I think the issue will be accommodation, because I think the V8 supercars and there's a festival and all that, they're on at the same time.
All right, well, there you go. Chris Ledbetter's putting it out there. Book now.
Book now.
Book now, get in there, and it's going to be a lot warmer than here. But, it's obviously great for Townsville, so great to see an expansion in the Confraternity in the women's game. A good little weaving run there from the half back there in Ranford. Last tackle now, says the referee. They're going to put it through the hands. Going to put it on the toe now. And the fullback and Zerbel puts it in the air here. It's going to be taken nicely in the back here. And chases are coming through here. Beats one. Still going there as Hoey. Still going as Hoey before she's going to be reined in on the 30-metre line. So good return from the kick. Defence isn't up in the line here, allowed to run. So Margaret Mary's ball in hand, trying to get it. Now, so we had a few more colleges come into the competition, making their debut as well, Chris.
Yeah, look, there was 4 additional colleges. There's still a number on the waiting list, which is interesting. I played in the first carnival in 1980 in Bundaberg, where there were 6 schools, and I know that 12 were invited, 8 said they were going, and 2 pulled out. So I ended up with 6. And the famous last words at a meeting about 10 years ago, we'll never go past 48. And 4 new teams, including our close friends and opponents, Villanova College, just up the road.
Yep.
And their principal, Paul Begg, is very, very keen to continue the relationship. So I think a decision's being made now as to whether the trial has worked, because what does 16 girls teams mean for the next comp as well? So how will we manage that? I believe there are lights up there, however, Sean, like up in Townsville. So you'll be commentating for about 12 hours a day.
Great.
Yeah, you should enjoy that, mate.
No.
So same rate.
Same rate.
Yeah, a can of Coke and a Mars bar at the end of every game.
International currency right there.
Yeah.
No, can't deny that. That's above and beyond, actually. You got me straight away, but how good's that? Last tackle now. Dummy from the back of this. Play the ball, trying to weave away through there. He's going to take the tackle. That's still another 95 metres down to the other end. So
might be an injury there.
Winded. And kudos to you, sir. I do believe it was a lot to do with yourself and St. Lawrence's College to actually have a Suncorp venue on Sunday for Lorries to play Villa.
Yeah, look,
that's a first.
Delighted with Dave Donaghy, the CEO, and the chair of the Broncos is Carl Morris from the Lorries class of 1984. So when we're doing our sponsorship deals, we have 6 major sponsors. The Broncos came on board, and part of the deal was the curtain raiser, which is not cheap for them to start. So we're very happy. We played Villanova at 12 o'clock, and the main game was at 2 o'clock for the Titans match. I know it's not the result in the main game the Broncos wanted, but it was the result we wanted in the game before.
To be honest, I didn't know there was a game after yours. Although it was just a one-off, just Villa and Lorries at Suncorp.
I think they had about 40,000. If it was just Lorries Villa, we probably would have got 50,000.
Yeah, standing room only would have been Origin all over again.
Yes, that's right.
So is that something that, because of the success of that, is something obviously in 2 years' time, where the venue may be down here in South East Queensland, we know it will be here at some place, but surely that's an option for that to happen again.
I believe Sean Clark in Ignatius Park is already talking to the Cowboys about next year.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Anything we can do?
Yes. I don't know the Cowboys people, but he has a number of boys that are contracted to the Cowboys at his school, so I'm sure they're able to work something out. But I don't know if the NRL draw has been released at this point, so it might be more difficult. Even if there was a local Host Plus game up there, I think that would be good. Well,
I'm always quite astonished as to why there aren't more curtain raiser games. I know the grounds obviously take a bit of a hiding here, because obviously there's now 2 NRL games a weekend and maybe a Reds game thrown at Suncorp. But even prior to that, why there was never a curtain raiser, whether it was a Host Plus Cup game or a BRL game, or even AIC games beforehand. It's not rocket science. It's a great opportunity for players to be involved in the game and have a one-off experience. Well, you and I never played Sun. Oh, did you ever play at Lang Park, Cliff?
No. No. I was
You
on the
bust out the back
sideline
of a-
while some of my colleagues played there, but
Yeah. But what a wonderful thing to take to your children. And I play at the Suncorp.
yeah, well, I think one of the issues is it's just the expense to open the gate an hour earlier. I think that's 30,000 just to do that. So you do need support of your rugby league clubs and your community. We've got about over 200 volunteers here this week, Sean, at the event, and it's been great.
Good shot. Well, I saw your little army of ball boys yesterday. Didn't they look like a well-drilled machine?
Nothing's changed in boys' education, Sean. If you give them a nice shirt, a hat, and a meat pie and a can of Coke, they'll do.
That's why I'm here.
They'll do a lot of work for you on the field. So, yes.
Yeah, they looked very smart in the.
They're mainly our grade 5s and 6s, but we've got some older boys assisting.
Yeah, but they're supposed to be on holiday, so that's great. They give up their time to come out here. And
I think that parents are happy to get rid of them, actually.
Yeah, good call. I do understand that most certainly. I do believe it's a great way to get them out of the house, most definitely, and good conditions. So that's Woods. Still have a 0-0 ball game here. 14 minutes still remaining. There's 25-minute half. That's going to be a forward pass, and so it'll be a knock on. The whistle hasn't gone. She hasn't heard it. She's on her way to the chalk there. It was Claire Hart. Didn't hear the whistle. Should have kept going anyway. So just a floating pass there that's come unstuck. This is 2 women's finals, girls finals here today, and then obviously we've got St. Pat's. I think will be on after this against St. Edmunds. But still a couple of games going with the ceremony in the middle for the women's final. So this scrum on halfway. So we didn't get out here. They had a 3-on-2 overlap here on this side of St. Mary Margaret's, but they decided to hang on to it and go closer to the ruck. And now it's with the back row and Bridget Wilson. And Bridget Wilson's still going, and Wilson will stand the tackle there of her opposite, and Zoe Woods plays the ball right in the middle of the park. Now with a Dage, and Dage will get absolutely poleaxed, loses the footy. The referee says play on, so no problems with the advantage there. Gets up and played on the 30, so St. Joseph's College with a chance now to try and get some points on the board. Heading towards half-time, that's the 40-metre mark right in front. Good pace, hits the ball with a lot of energy there. Might be the back rower there, and Zoe Woods. Run it's a call from the sideline. Going backwards to go forwards. Thinks about a pop pass out in the back, but hangs on the footy. Facing the wrong way. It's a good defence there from Wyke. Blind side. 4 players on this blind side. Beats the first one. This is the player who actually went for a run there a minute ago at half, and she'll get cut down. 35 metres out from the try line by Orr. Good defence there. Cut down from Taya Bowie. Last tackle, says the referee. Oh, just a little knock on. That'll be a changeover. Wasn't a great pass, Chris.
No, it's fantastic standard. It really is. The girls' game has improved so much. And I think the defence is probably the biggest improvement from what I can see in the last 5 minutes.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because I've got a 14-year-old daughter, and we watch the State of Origin, and I'll tell you one thing you don't see a lot in women's game is the fact high shots. You don't see many of them. If they are, they're accidental, and a lot of it's due to, and I said to my daughter, I said, why do you think that is? She said, I think it's technique, Dad. I said, yes, it is technique, because basically players are coming into the game later and they've been taught how to actually tackle in the right way, and that's why you'll see tackles right around where the ball's being carried. So there's an instance right there, and you'll put a...
And I think schools and clubs are putting some of their better coaches into the girls' game as well. So I know at the co-ed schools they see it of equal importance. Of course, the girls and the boys are now playing netball in a carnival running concurrently this week. So run by Anne Rebgetz and Dan McMahon out of Nissan Arena. So there's a lot of people come to Brisbane, and it's my hope that we can go regionally a lot more than we have recently and inject money into some of those communities. Perhaps the best one I went to.
Here's a chance here for Bridget Wilson. Wilson goes over and scores a try, and the referee says forward pass.
Oh, knock on, I think.
Well, she might have lost it over the line, Chris. You might be right.
Yeah. So back to the 22.
There's the replay in your bottom corner there. I thought she's on her way to the chalk. Goes and gets oh so close. Yes, you're right. She lost it over the line, unfortunately. But Peter Elmore mentioned, and as you remember last year, Mackay, I think there was no rooms left.
No
bed
right.
in the inn. No.
That's right. And that's one of our challenges. If we go regional, we have to get accommodations for the families. So Charters Towers, I went with St Lawrence's up there a few years ago. We slept on the clubhouse floor. But I think that doesn't hurt the boys. She's through.
Good fend there from Ranford. Ranford still going, still trying to get through his Ranford. A couple of good fends there. So 25 metres out now, St Joseph's. Still 0-0. It's going to go down to the wire. This trophy final. Back row there is Zoe Woods. Has been strong. Beats one Zoe Woods. Still going as Woods. Woods finally grabbed by her opposite there and Bridget Wilson. Through the backs they go. It's with the fullback and Zerbel. And Zerbel's allowed to take that to the line here. And Zerbel will take 10 or 12 metres off the account. And Zerbel's still going. Looks for a promotion on the footy. Referee's called held, so she'll have to play that out. Ball back inside, and that's spinning and turning the tackle. She's going to get close to the line. The referee's going to award the try, and the first one of the match will come on the way of St Joseph's.
Excellent work by Joey's. They've just hung tough, and they've got down there and scored. Brilliant play.
Just trying to get the
look, Paul Canning hasn't smiled for 30 years. I think he's just smiled there.
Bit of Wayne Bennett.
Different build.
Different build, yeah. Yeah. Wayne might have been weighing that when he was born. You got a number there? Number 6. Thank you, Andrew. So, Mariah Brown scores the first points of the match. Well, it's been end-to-end stuff, and it's been quality footy. It all comes down to a pretty good run there from Zoe Woods, the number 11. It's been dynamic, the back row. It's caused some headaches for the defensive St. Margaret Marys. But I would imagine if you were playing back in 1981 or 1980, that you would never have thought the girls' game would ever be part of Confrat.
Interesting. Jim Stevenson ran that carnival. He was the head of sport at CBC Bundaberg. And he spoke yesterday about his amazement about the growth and the changes. And he didn't see that coming. And it was really his vision he was telling us. And working with the Christian brothers, particularly brother Lionel Ted McGee, started this carnival. So it's just where it stops is probably the issue for us, how big we do get.
Created a beat. Just check this replay. Chris, they just held off, steps off the right, then the left, and just did the Maori side step, hit and spin, and the tackle and goes over and scores a try.
We've got just over 7 minutes to go on this half, I see, on the Laurie's scoreboard.
Well, this is the other thing I said to Peter. I remember in Mackay, we didn't have a clock, as you recall.
No.
Or on Bundy, and it was a case of you didn't know when it was going to be full time. So whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I think it's a good thing because then you can throw it around and play a bit of razzle-dazzle and catch up footy.
One of the things you learn from is each year I think the carnival gets better because it's a real spirit of sharing improvements and how things could change, etc. It's been an 18-month labour of love for our convener Eddie Wallace and his offsider Desley Armitage. They've been superb. People think I do stuff, Sean. I just watch them do it. They're very, very good.
Well, it's all about putting the right people in the right places. Obviously, you've done that with your people. It's been a well-oiled machine that's been operating here at Runcorn.
We used to, Saturday, we played Marist a few weeks ago. We had 76 games of rugby union and soccer in that day. So we're just treating it as 4 Marist days.
Wow.
As a Confrat.
Unbelievable. Now, I asked Peter Elmore, I know it's Central Queensland University's major sponsor is the name of the field. Is this field named after anyone in particular?
This is the CQ Uni field, this one. No, this one is just our main field.
Main sponsor field? There's no actual...
No.
Okay, it's not like the Peter such and such.
But a lot of the fields are converted. So we've got 6 for this carnival, but on a Saturday we'll have up to 9.
What?
Because the little fellas do smaller fields and all that sort of thing. going from the 5D games right through to the first matches. But
so term 4, anything happen out here?
Term 3, we reviewed our AIC sport and we brought in rugby league and AFL in term 1, and both have grown. So we've got rugby league, tennis, basketball and athletics this term coming.
Yeah, but in term 4, do your people get arrested?
We do a touch tournament and we go to all schools
back out here again.
And our people don't like having breaks; they just like working hard.
Attention all schools that have ordered lunch.
Well, it's all a community thing, isn't it? It's a club.
I do a lot of enrolments, interviews, and I've never had a kid ask me about the maths curriculum, but many have asked me is when does footy start?
When does footy start? So it should be, just saying. So, my TE score wasn't that flash, as you can imagine, but I really enjoyed the sport.
The only thing that I'd say to you there, mate, is most people don't know what TE score is anymore. You're showing your age.
I am showing my age. I had the pleasure of telling my mother what the TE score meant, and I said it's out of 10. Just think of it that way.
Right.
Series 650, I think, was the lowest you could get.
So, yes, 650 right up to the old 990, wasn't it?
So, kick over the top. He's going to be taken here. So, St. Joseph's, with 4 minutes remaining, have got a long way to go here, but they could put some more points on the board because they certainly got some pace, especially on this broadcast side. So is that only recently they've got rid of TU schools, or is this something that I just...
yeah, there's a couple of iterations.
Like 20 years?
There was OP and now we're into ATAR. So good to see you keeping up with the educational curriculum.
Yeah.
And you've got kids at school, haven't
I
you?
do, yeah.
Okay. So mum does everything, I'm gathering?
Yeah. Well, they're back. Apparently they're back to A, B, C and D now. It used to be 7. 7's down the... Well, I don't know, the 1.
Yeah, I think what is old becomes new and vice versa.
Most certainly. So St. Joseph's, I've just gone backwards. I don't think it's the last tackle here, so Zerb will have to pick it up here. Beats the tackle. Still going to Zerb, back to where the ball came from. Goes back in the field of play here. She's going to take the tackle. The referee's still got a couple of tackles to go here. So St. Joseph's, with 3 minutes remaining, could put some more points on the board. And he just stand up here, St. Margaret Mary's. Now it's the last. One of the options here is with the 5'8" there in Brown, who scored the try here. And he's that back row in the number 11 who's doing some mountain of work as Zoe Woods. Gets the offload here, driving with the legs, trying to get across the line here. And that'll be a changeover. That might be the halfback, and it is in Indy Ranford. And Ranford will have a changeover. 95 minutes down to the other end. So they'll get another set of 6 here, St. Joseph. So if they can get a good defensive set on the board, they'll have good field possession to launch for the final time of this first half. 25-minute halves, so extended here for this trophy final.
I think it's our first ever trophy final.
It is.
Well, yeah. So it's good the girls can play for something if they haven't got through to the main finals.
Well, it's
and
12 teams.
They'll pick a representative team at the end of this carnival for the first time as well, Sean.
I believe, Peter was saying they'll go down and play in the Nationals.
They may do, but they're got selectors going to each game and ranking the players, and led by a former Gillaroo. Is that what they are? Rugby League, Gillaroo? And Bobby Bell and a few others are helping.
Oh, it's a chance. Oh, try time in the 5'8". They'll go over. Mariah Brown scores her second. Not what they needed, St. Margaret Mary's closing in on half-time, and that's just a lovely individual try here. Shows some razzle-dazzle footwork as we check out the replay from the back of the scrum here. Chris Ledbetter.
Yeah, it opened up. She needs space, the 6, doesn't she? She can make a difference.
Most certainly. Beats Olivia Dage, unfortunately. And so you see this quite a few times at not only at Confro, not only in the BRL, but the NRL. These set plays from scrums, as we mentioned, you can't break until the ball's out. So it's basically a one-on-one. In this sense there, Mariah Brown just showed a clean set of heels to go over. But, yeah, the Gillaroos, the Origin, and B&B, NRLW.
We had Jo Barrett at the dinner, who's...
Oh, yes.
She was obviously a former brilliant player. She works at Nudgee College as a house dean.
She does.
And she was talking to us about the growth of the game and how important it is for young women. We had her and Dave Donaghy and Carl Webb, who is suffering from motor neurone disease, and Carl spoke of what rugby league did for him Carl donated $20,000 to M&D and me, started by an old boy of our school. St Lawrence has donated $15,000 and Quizrell donated $5,000.
Wow.
So it was great to see some past students come back and meet the people who the work's being done for. So it's a very debilitating disease, but Carl had actually had a fall the day before and still said, like you'd expect, I'm going to this dinner and I'm speaking. So it wasn't a dry eye in the house that night, and I know a lot of the people, perhaps after a couple of refreshments, dug into their pocket for further donations as well.
That's the idea. Referee's blown time on. So this will be the last play.
Oh, good kick.
Knocked on, so that'll be playing on if they can pick it up. It's going to go dead in the touch, and that will be half-time. 10 points to nil in favour of St Joseph's. And we'll just check out the highlights of those two tries, and both of them scored by Mariah Brown. So the first one steps off the right, got some great footwork there, spins and turns in the tackle leaders Brown, and then the second one from the back of the scrum just stood up her opposite number there and just steps off the left. There's some talent right there and goes over and scores underneath the post. That was converted, and that has a scoreline of 10 points to nil. Chris Ledbetter will come back here with the second half very, very soon. We're here at Confraternity 2023. Back trophy final, second half about to get underway between St Margaret Mary's and St Joseph's College. And Brenda Prendergast is the referee for this game. I failed to mention that at the start of this fixture, this final, 25-minute halves. And Chris Ledbetter, the principal of St Lawrence's College, joins us here on commentary. And, well, just before half-time it was anyone, so it's all for St Margaret's. Just waiting for the Carnival hooter. So both tries scored by Mariah Brown, the number 6. We're underway. Shorty kickoff.
Good kick.
Look out. Little knock on, but that'll be a scrum feed now too. St Joseph, so yeah, I'd like to try and get their first points on the board and erase that 10-0 deficit. But the sun's certainly out now, Chris.
Yeah, I think Joey's there in front, is my recollection. Is that right?
I beg your pardon, St Joe's, yes. So there's an opportunity to go one further.
We've just dialed in and just asked for a little bit of better weather, and I see that's come around too. Oh, I've not seen that ever. Oh.
It'll never happen.
I thought it was a rugby scrum for a minute.
You'll never see it happen unless there's a push. Well, here's a question for you, Chris. Do they, in the independent schools, is there the rugby union in the women's game? Only league.
Yeah, there certainly is,
okay.
and there's a definite rugby union pathway, but a lot of it for the girls is through the Sevens program initially.
Okay, yeah.
Which allows your talented touch kids to come through and to condition them to what's expected. But yes, there is.
Okay.
It's done differently, but this carnival is really, there's a couple of things that we talk about at the confraternity level. Is about developing young people through whatever means we need to, whether that's service or a classroom or sport. But you and I both know that sport can have a significant effect on the lives of young people, and even from the carnival, the Carbine Club give $2,500 for one of the players to assist with studies when they leave school, whether that be laptop or fees or whatever the case may be. So there's a real community focus and a focus on our mission as schools.
Well, I'll come back to that shortly. We'll just go through the hands here with the fullback and Dage. Strong. As is a back row, so they're keeping the footy alive here. Namok straight as a play here. He's going to fall down the tackle. 15 out from the try line. Still a couple of tackles to go here for St Margaret Mary's. The fullback involved is Dage again. Gets the offload to the front rower in Watson, and Watson in turn gives it to the opposite in 6. And good cover defence there coming from
excellent
St Joey's. Keep their line intact. Watson again gets the offload, keeping it alive. Oh, lovely little bit of Globetrotter stuff there from Wilson. Keeping it alive here is now the hooker and Ronicato. Now with Wyke, and Wyke will get close to the try line. The referee will say it's a forward pass and a knock on.
Knock on. Wow, what great defence from Joey's.
Well, it's interesting. Before halftime, we talked about Carl Webb. Now,
yes,
I want to say, Chris, he was. Anybody could have just said, "Oh, they have motor neuron disease," and okay, so be it. But when it's been highlighted in the rugby league community, everybody just gathers around, don't they? From all walks of life, where it's all one. Once you play rugby league, or even rugby union and Coda sport, you always find people coming out and wishing you the best and trying to help you out, even though you're probably a distant friend or relative. But it just creates a sort of a collective body to try and get him better and support him.
I think one of the keys there, Sean, is when people know the story of others. The theory of something doesn't work, but when you know the story and how it affects the day a lot, all people are good people if given the opportunity to help. We'd argue that in our schools that if kids can support, they get more out of it than those they're supporting. So Carl was absolutely brilliant last night, and there was the other night. It was a great testament to his courage. Now he's done a lot on the football field, but I think his most courageous battle is now.
Well, what he did on the football field was courageous in itself, and sometimes verged on lunacy and courage. Some of the shots he put on, I can remember the 3 or 4 tackles in a row here in Origin where he absolutely caused some havoc. So, what a grab there from Gilbert. Wow, that was a great catch, a fine leg there as he takes it over the shoulder, almost like Fatty Vorton in that commentary and that charity game. So a knock on.
No, I think she's more talented than Fatty. That's not
hard. Well, in that code anyway. So
he went to Padua. I think that was his main problem.
Fair enough. Oh well, he came good after a while.
Yes.
Saw the light.
He's gone all right, hasn't he?
Gone all right since. So that's the thing about, but the whole Confraternity. We've got a history of players from Confraternity going on to play for Australia and Queensland. I'm sure this is going to be the case here for the women's game at Confraternity. In the future, we'll see some of these players wearing the maroon. I'm sure from what I've seen here, and that's a ball that's come loose. There's a penalty with a strip in there.
I was just talking to a Broncos official up in the commentary box. They've already looked at 2 girls that they want to talk to for the future. And one comment was, we think we found the next to me Upton, yeah.
Okay.
So, yes.
There was a player on day one who actually scored a try and had the running style of Tamika Upton. I mentioned it in the call there. I don't know whether it's the same player or not, but I'll tell you what, certainly had some wheels in the attempt to get her game to the next level. So 10 out from the try line.
I think Joey's will go in this set. That's an early call. I've been wrong once in my life, so I hope this could be the second.
I'm going to ask you when that was, and cover defence. So Margaret Marys need to hang on here. They're down by 10-0. They can't afford to leak another one. But there she goes over and scores a try. Strong run from Bridget Lucas, and Lucas goes over out wide, and Chris Ledbetter, you're a visionary. Visionary, I tell you.
No, we've got this carnival well planned. We know what's going to happen every minute.
Wow, talk about like clockwork. So good call there, and good strength. And we can see runs between shoulders and reaches out and scores. That's a good rugby league try. That's good vision. And
I think they must be doing some good things up at Joey's Toowoomba. These girls have come on so well. As I said, Paul Canning's involved, but I know there'd be other staff committing to this program. And I know the Toowoomba touch scene's huge, so I imagine some of these girls play touch. And I know the rugby league community is getting bigger and larger up there.
So with the netball side of things, does that go hand in hand? Obviously, I saw Bundaberg had a lot of people. Obviously, they had it there.
It's no, it doesn't necessarily, but the 2 committees talk to each other to try and make sure that expenses for schools are less. So I know the carnival for netball's in Townsville as well next year, but we've only hosted obviously the rugby league, and I think St James in the Valley, Fortitude Valley, are convening the netball out of Nissan Arena.
Okay. Because Mackay was there.
Mackay, the school coordinated the both.
And Iona?
Iona was in Brisbane, but it wasn't coordinated by Iona.
Right.
I think the difference is co-ed schools tend to host both of those. Robbie Alexander's hosted a few carnivals at TCC and Shalom Bundaberg, and he's done both. And I know Dan McMahon up there has done the same in recent times.
So conversion attempt, 14 points to 10, 3 tries to 0. That's going to be waved away. So, well, they've got 16.5 minutes to go here. So just check out this replay again. Just
good hands.
Yep. Just half the gap there and just drove forward. Big number 4 too. Strong is Bridget Lucas and goes over. So you'll remember that one at Confro on field number 1.
For some of the students, we hear that this is the highlight of their school year, and just going away with their friends, meeting new friends, playing good sport. And some of these girls and boys just don't know how good they can be until they compete at this level. So we're delighted with the carnival, but we're also delighted with how schools talk to the people about the spirit of Confro and what it means.
But there's a division for everyone, isn't it? That's what I like about it, because you think, oh, I'm not good enough to play. Well, yes, you are, because there's 3 divisions in the men's and 2 in the girls, or 1 in the girls, and you can just play at the level you want. It's all about having fun. It's not actually. This is school footy. It's not a rep carnival.
That's right. I remember one year, Ambrose Tracy College were in Div 3, and Ezra Mam was a student at that school, and we thought, oh dear, Ezra's playing Div 3. There'll be a problem. It's okay, he got picked for Queensland and he wasn't allowed to play. So, and it's a shame that sometimes there is clashes. I know, for example, Iona and Iggy Park and other schools have their top rep players not able to compete because of the state carnivals that happen at the same time.
But that happens every year.
It does.
So it's
it does.
It's not an unknown. So St Margaret Marys really need to find some points. That's a long floating pass here now to Gilbert. Gilbert's got some pace, doesn't get it, but for mine, the player to open this one up for St Margaret Marys is Dage, the number 1. If she can get involved, he's a long cut-out ball now to Thiel, and Thiel has to come back into the field. Tries to marry, sidestep, and gets absolutely crunched. Ball and all tackle. Gets to her feet nice and quickly. That's the best you've got. Now it's with the prop forward there on Southerton Hatton. She drives towards the try line. The 12 out. Now St Margaret Marys with an opportunity to try and get some points back on the board in their first at that. Dage is lurking. Doesn't go to Dage. Instead it goes to the centre 3/4 there, and Gilbert. Dummy half is Ricardo. Dage. Well, they're waiting for her. Put down. They've lost some metres now. Last tackle, says referee Prendergast. That's going to be kicked dead, and that will be a 7-tackle restart on the 20. So not a great end to that set of 6 here, but some enterprising plays. St Margaret Marys just need some more footy and better field position.
Just on 14 minutes to go, and a few of the girls walking out there, Sean, at the moment. It's heated up out there for sure.
Well, it's 25 minutes halves, and also this is their 5th game.
That's correct.
And mind you, though, yes, they had a day off yesterday, but for mine, as you probably be well aware, Chris, it always seems to be the second day when you're the sorest.
Yes.
For mine.
I think even though they only play generally 20 minutes each way in the lead-up games, you've still got to warm up and warm down, and it does take a toll. So a lot of schools, the kids are asked to be resilient and do their best. There's some... Obviously, with any head knock, there's kids ruled out, but some of them are playing fairly sore at the moment, and it's great for their character, within reason, of course.
This is why you extended the squad, especially the men's, to 21?
Yeah, mainly around the concussion protocols. That was our main reason, and we're very strong on that.
Smart reason. Still trying good driving there with the tackle. There's Ricardo. She's been strong to the 9 for St Margaret Marys. They come to the blind side. It's 4-on-3. Chip kick over the top here. Well done there by Thiel. She heard of some thundering feet coming towards her. That's going to be penalty for...
Was there obstruction? What was that about?
Maybe. She might have been taken out with a kick in the back. Not too sure.
The referee's done a very good job out here today. She's kept them back 10, which they don't always do. It's been great.
Okay, so I don't know. This might be the 23rd game for this carnival I've done on this ground, and I think there's maybe one, maybe two questionable decisions that I've seen from my vantage point up here, which is pretty good. So that's a great fend here as away she goes again, and that's Mariah Brown. So if you're an NRLW representative, keep an eye on her. Here she's again. Sorry, that's a 16, but yeah, the referees have been outstanding.
I was talking to Sean Chapman, who's one of the coaches, and he said it's good for them because they haven't got the sideline. Normally, it's a school official running the touch, so they've got to do everything themselves, make their own decisions. There's no comms.
No bunker, thank Lord.
Yeah, no bunker, and he would say that's really good for their development. And referee Prendergast has done a great job out here today. Famous Brisbane name, Prendergast. One of our staff's got that name, and his mother's on our board.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure they'll be related.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say Sean Chapman was, which is
Sean
famous
Chapman.
Name.
He's done well, even though I taught him grade 9 English. He's still got
did you?
at a school called Iona College at the Bay.
There you go. No, I know Sean very well. He's the BRL A-grade referee. I was able to do a one-on-one trying to boost the numbers for referees, so he gave us his time, as did Brittany Stephen, the female referee. So about trying to get more players out for the best seat in the house, and that is a referee. And it's a great fitness thing. I can tell you now, Sean is a lot svelter now than he was at the start of the season. And that's Bridget Wilson. He'll be the first to admit that he actually finds it very good, not only sporting-wise, but physically-wise. He does look a treat, though, Shawnee, and he's not listening, so I can say that.
Look, he was always quite an athlete, but a very team-oriented man, and maybe that's why he got into refereeing.
Well, his communication skills on the field, because we can hear him through the headsets.
That was the English oral presentations he had to do that made him like that in grade 9.
That'd be him. Yeah. He does acknowledge that.
Yes.
But not often enough.
I caught up with Damon Keating the other day,
and
I taught him, and he came up, and I thought he was going to thank me for everything I did, and he said, because of you, I failed maths. And,
really?
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
I think he's right, but
at least he's still speaking to you, mate. That's amazing. St. Joseph's looking to put some more paint on the scoreboard for St. Margaret Mary's. Quick play the ball. They've got numbers to the left-hand side here. Look out. Mariah Brown again gets the offload. And with the back rower, might go over and score the try, and she does. And Hayley Simmons comes up with the 4th try here for St. Joseph's.
The number 6 has been in everything, hasn't she?
Mariah Brown, yeah. So you
scored 2 and last pass and the other 2.
Takes it to the line, draws defenders, gets the offload. Still a bit of work to do. Probably one of the tallest players on the field, Hayley Simmons, and was able to charge onto that ball and score a try out wide. So 18 points to 0, getting away from St. Margaret Mary, considering down the other end of the field not long ago. But Mariah Brown stamping her class in this game.
So this field, Sean, is our main cricket field. So Landscape Solutions have worked really closely with us to make sure that's not a concrete block out in the middle there. So that's been irrigated every day. We just wanted rain, but the only thing I couldn't do was get rain.
Well, look, that's something to work on. But yeah, I said that to Peter Elmore. I said I think it's outstanding how these fields are looking, Chris, considering we haven't had any rain here for probably 3 or 4 weeks here in South East Queensland. It's pretty dry, and rain does everything. And for this to be that green, and considering how cold it's been, I wouldn't be surprised if there would have been close to a frost on 2 or 3 occasions.
Well, they've had Hessian blankets over it because of the frost, and so as I said, the firm we use, we've outsourced that. They've made all the difference, and this school, a lot of our old boys remember it with the big picket fence around the outside. That may come back. We've just got to get some money out of them. And but the first thing we did was fence the whole precinct, which prevented people hitting golf balls and taking their dogs for walks and all that on it. And then we've spent some money over the last 4 or 5 years giving a facility that's, we think, pretty good. Not as good as everywhere, but at our fee base, we do what we can.
Rome wasn't built in a day, mate.
No, certainly wasn't.
Just trying to remember. Like I said, as I mentioned to you when I first got here on day one, that I'd played back here in '81. I can't remember there being I don't think there was a picket fence.
Yeah, there was a picket fence.
There was.
Yeah,
I should know if I was bowling. They would have cleared it.
Every second old boy in Australia has told me that there was a picket fence.
There you go.
And it was wooden, and went around the cricket wicket, and the rugby union and now rugby league field was in the middle.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, that's mind you though. I don't know where my car keys are right now either. So my memories and all that flash.
And that was a long, long time ago,
40 years ago.
when you were at school.
Was
it's 1981 you graduated from Morris Rosalie, is that right?
Correct.
Well, I graduated the same year from St Edmunds Ipswich.
There you go. So here's this player again.
She's through.
Dynamic Zoe Woods. And Zoe Woods. And Days will come across and cut her down. She's on the 30-metre line. She'll get up and play it. So look out. St Joseph's are on the march again. Solid contacts. Heading Barbella. 20 out from the try line. Just keep an eye out here from Mariah Brown, the 6. She's still out there. She's lurking. She's got the ball in hand. Gets the offload.
It's good contact.
Yeah, that's Acor Bayer. We'll get to her feet gingerly. Brown.
Oh.
Well, she's going to have to...
I'll have to go down.
Yeah, so it's going to be a penalty. Yeah, too late.
Oh, high tackle.
Got one across the chin.
No.
Oh, okay, it's a penalty. So it was from an obstruction, so I thought it might have been for a high shot, but anyway.
She had the arm up one way and went the other way. Oh.
Ooh. Just finds touch, so...
Be good if the Townsville girls could go in for a try before the end of the match. Here, Sean.
5.5 minutes to do so. They've got a long way to go. They've got 70 metres, but not too hard, so... This is the fullback there, and Olivia Dage. Good ball and all tackle there from Brown. Breeze starting to pick up here as the sun comes out as well. They scoot towards this blind side. Halfway line's 5 metres away.
The number 9's been excellent, Sean, for Margaret Marys, hasn't she? The hooker.
Ron Carter.
Yeah, she's been very good.
This time it's with Hoey. Good meetings from Hoey. Hoey, here's a chance here. 1-on-1. Hoey got an opportunity. Tries to get away from the fullback because Zerbel will grab her, but she's 8 metres out from the try line. So St Margaret Marys with an opportunity to put some points on the board. Days is a dummy half. Well, we've got an injured player in the tackle. Well, this will give St Joseph's time to reset the defensive line. Let's have a look at the replay here. What a run. From dummy half, the 14 in Ashley Hoey. Don't know whether it's friendly fire from the tackle. Let's have a look. Well, she just landed on top of her, unfortunately, so might have got a little bit winded.
Confraternity have really improved the medical over the years. We have 2 doctors and a doctor of physio in the centre. And we have sports med on each field. And obviously, one of the big changes is we've had no ambulances over this week because the doctors can triage and treat people. That's been an initiative through the committee led by Peter Elmore. And the big focus has been around head injuries, which I know needs to be a very important focus in this modern day.
So
I hope she's okay.
I think she did get winded because the player actually landed on top of it. So the lady in the red over here, that's the doctor?
No, she'll be working for the medics. The 3 doctors are in the centre, which is just over the creek. But and they can do some of the more difficult things. They can even stitch young people, etc., if needed. But one of the things is the hospitals are liking it because the ambulances don't need to get called for any questionable event. And it means also that the parents know that it's the best care here as well.
Well, it's no different to senior football at the moment. They don't tend to have ambulances at grounds anymore. So time back on. So say Margaret Marys. Well, almost trying to get it back in the juggle. That's going to be a changeover.
That was their chance.
Yeah. They still have good field position, but it's just 2.5 minutes to go. They'll get one more set. So this is the final 2.5 minutes for the girls.
Yeah, it looks like a trophy's going up the Downs Highway this afternoon, so that's good for the girls.
Is there an intercept? Is there a push in the scrum? Is there another
a mistake, perhaps?
Yeah, well, good shots to come. They eventuate. Put it through the hands here, St. Joseph's. They're not done yet. Who's are you allowed to actually have a tip for the final, Chris?
For the big one, yeah, I perhaps think St. Pat's Mackay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go one better than last year.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, as I said, I've been wrong once before. It might be this time. I'm wrong when I have a look at racehorses. So maybe that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, so you are human. There you go. You pick those things anyway. 90 seconds remaining. It's the last tackle here, St. Joseph's. So that'll be a changeover. Just 3 metres short of halfway. So St. Margaret Mary's, if they get so enthusiastic about it, they've got a chance to get to the other end of the field. For mine, it's that Ashley Hoey, Olivia Dage, Thiel on this blind side. Certainly got some pace as well. So get out of the way. That's a good carry for the first one. Halfway line has been crossed. Dummy half is Ricardo, as you've mentioned. Chris Ledbetter has been having a whale of a game. Here's the back rower is Wilson. Wilson, they get it over the top to the halfback and Bowie. Not going anywhere. That's just straight across from where that first tackle was made. Now they get across the advantage line. It's offload. It's going to be St. Joseph's with the footy, so that's the last option there for St. Margaret Mary's.
I think that's their last chance, Sean.
Hip toss. Back on the 40, 30 seconds to go in this trophy final. Not giving up defensively, St. Margaret Mary's. They're going to keep their line intact. Mariah Brown. Juggling Zoe Woods. They lose the footy. Okay, 10 seconds to go.
2 more plays, perhaps.
Here comes Dage, the fullback, coming with pace from the back fence. Puts the fend on there, but the defence is even better. Might get up for one last play here. Dart from dummy half and Ricardo. Beats one, gets the offload. It's been touched on. Should be 6 to go, and that might be play on, but no, the referee's going to play full time. So St. Joseph's have won this one 4 tries to nil. They've kept their line intact here, and a comprehensive win in the end, 18 points to nil. We're going to wrap it up here, Chris Ledbetter. Thank you so much for your time, mate. Well done to you and your committee for a wonderful carnival here at Confraternity 2023. I can't, apart from rain, you've done everything spot on, mate. You've brought everything to the game, and we appreciate seeing you here. And we'll make way for, it's a step down to Michael Crutcher that you've...
Michael Crutcher's coming up.
Yeah, so
okay, I better go.
We've got to let him back in.
It's been our privilege to host this, so thank you very much.
Yeah, well done, mate, and congratulations, especially on Suncorp, a great initiative. We'll see you in Townsville. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you. We'll take a break here as we wait for the finals, so congratulations to St. Joseph's and a comprehensive win. We'll be back soon here, Confraternity 2020.